Neurophysiological recovery, or in other words, how you can calm your nervous system down so you can rest at the maximum rate at night and perform better the next day. Because this is honestly like one of the, like, seeing it out there and also working one-on-one with my clients is like one of the most overseen areas that they completely forget about. They look at, for example, sometimes like morning routines and like jamming them off with caffeine and perform every single day until they almost burn out, and only then they start looking at optimizing their recovery. So why not in the first place we do it in general so it becomes more sustainable, and at the same time it also enhances our performance, right? Because everything that I'm going to share with you in here on this episode, whether you're watching this on video, on YouTube, or on the audio channels on Spotify and Apple, I'm going to give you tactical implementations that you can do starting right very now that will have a massive positive impact on your recovery, on your sleep, on your sanity, and then ultimately on your performance and quality of life. So to start this off, like, keep in mind, like, what am I even talking about? Think back to the time. I'm not asking you when was the last, if you ever had that, but I'm just asking you, when was the last time you tried to go to sleep and your mind was just racing and racing and racing, and you thought about the projects and the deadlines and the interview, and then on top of that, the family issues and the kids and whatnot, and you just wanted to go to sleep. You're physically tired, but your eyes were wide awake, your mind was racing, and you just couldn't get the rest that you were hoping for and looking for, although you were obviously tired. When was the last time? Maybe it was last night, maybe it was last week, a month ago, but it's probably not too far away. And that essentially happens because your body was in what we call a parasympathetic state. Sympathetic is more usually after dinner, after meals, when you're a little bit more relaxed. Parasympathetic is fight or flight, when you're like when it's go time. This has its place. This is a good thing. Let's say during the day, in the mornings, when you want to perform at a high level. But it's a very, very, very bad thing if you want to fall asleep and have a good rest, right? Because essentially what we're going to look at here is everybody focuses too much. Like the last 2, 3, 4 years in the fitness industry has been all about like the morning routines and everything, and it has now in the last few weeks reached its peak where certain morning routines even appeared in commercial TV. That's when like certain trends reach their peak and it's going to go down. And what's going to come up next, and you're going to be early with that, having access to this training, will be the neurophysiological recovery, aka also your evening routine, what will help you to fall asleep better, recover better. Because in all honesty, the evening routine versus the morning routine, evening routine is the morning routine's bigger and more important brother, right? What you do, like if you get up in the morning and you just start getting to work and doing stuff and like maybe hydrate yourself a little bit, have a high protein breakfast, like you're already doing a lot of things right. But in the evening, that's where most people mess up. And like your sleep, how you prepare for your sleep is literally the next most important thing next to the things that you're doing during your day, right? Because essentially a good evening routine will mean good relaxation, good sleep, and that essentially also a better life in every possible way. Because you know exactly when you don't get your sleep properly, when you're under recovered, all of us become a little bit of pain in the right? Not going to speak it out loud because the platforms maybe like punish me for that, but we become a little peach, let's say it like that, right? When we're underslept. But what it means also, just to like hammer that in before I get into the very tactical things. Good sleep means if you're well recovered, if you're getting good sleep, that means you're likely to retain more muscle mass, which is a single independent factor of longevity. You're less likely to fat gain and you're leaner. People who sleep well are leaner. People who sleep less are on average fatter. You keep your sanity, you have better productivity, you're smarter, literally, and obviously you're kinder to people. And like I said, it's literally the most important thing you can do next to the things that you're doing during your day. So let's get right now into the wind down routine that I'm going to share with you. Either if you're listening or watching, you're going to see the whole list if you're watching this on YouTube. But what I want you, before I get into the tactical things, what I want you to remember is there's going to be a lot of things in there. I dropped everything that has science, like that is backed by science and actually does something, not just some woo-hoo from a health guru online that thought, like some carnivore dude that like thought he like thinks he invented the world and you have to live like your ancestors like 100 million years ago. This is the stuff that is backed by science and that is practical. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things in there, so pick the ones that you feel you can implement the easiest and start there, right? Because there's going to be obviously a few ones that are going to take a little bit more time or that are not, let's say, as easily accessible to everybody. So let's just have a look at it and see where you can get started and have that implemented. Neurophysiological recovery, the full blueprint for your new wind down routine. So what I'm going to share with you is we're going to assume, just for the example here to drive the points home, that you're going to want to sleep by 10 p.m. in the evening. Let's say your goal is to go to bed by 10, wake up by 6, so you get 8 hours in bed. Note, very important, 8 hours in bed doesn't mean you get 8 hours of sleep. Very clear that if you optimize what I'm showing you here, you're getting closer to the bedtime, that your sleep time is going to get closer to your bedtime. But if you have a bad sleep hygiene, if you spend 8 hours in bed, you may be sleeping actually 6, right? Which is very bad. And we want to optimize that. We want to become as efficient as possible. So let's assume we want to sleep by 10 p.m. And I'm going to go through the whole process starting in the day, 10 hours before, 6 hours before, and so on until it's bedtime. Very simply, now here, 10 hours before bed. So that would be in this case 12 p.m., 12 noon. Start or stop caffeine from this point onwards. Caffeine has a half-life, depending on the individual, between 5 to 7 hours. And if you had a big serving or if you have a double Nespresso after lunch, this is going to be active in your blood, still circulating in your blood when you want to go to bed. And even if you say like, oh, I feel fine if I have my Nespresso after dinner or something like that, I can still fall asleep. Objectively seen, you will mess up your sleep. And to drive this analogy home, it's the same thing as saying, yeah, I can have a few beers, I can drink a few beers and then drive the car home. Yeah, maybe you're able to. And there's a lot of times where it maybe goes right. But when you look at it from an objective perspective, you will not be in the same physical condition and you're putting yourself on an unnecessary elevated risk of creating damage, right? So 10 hours before bed, start avoiding caffeine, right? Then 6 hours before bed, so that will be 4 p.m. Try to finish your last intense training session. If that's lifting weights, if that's hard cardio, sprints, martial arts, things such as like a little bit like a light jog, walking your dog, that doesn't count as that obviously, but anything that really like significantly increases your heart rate because your body needs time to like calm down again. And if you go to the gym or if you like do very heavy training, like an hour or two before bed, it will mess up your sleep. Try also, if you have the freedom, at 4 p.m., 6 hours before bed, stop stimulating work like deep strategy or creative thinking. So try to find where in the day you're most creative or where deep work usually works best for you, but keep it a little bit away from your sleep time. Because again, this is like your brain being on a high intensity training protocol and you're like very deep and like invested into it. It needs time to calm down. And that's why it is here 6 hours before bed. Try to stop deep work, very strategic, very intensive thinking, and keep that maybe for the first half of the day, where you keep the second half of your day more for like replying emails, talking to team members, reviewing stuff. It will align better with your performance and you will function in any domain better. Then 3 hours before bed, that will be in this case 7 p.m. Stop cutting off food entirely because you want to have enough time to digest before you go to sleep, because otherwise your heart rate keeps being elevated and you keep digesting throughout the night, which is a very bad thing for your recovery. Your heart rate's not going to drop and you're just not going to recover as properly. Beginning with your wind down routine, wind down window, 3 hours before bed. So stop here. Emails, stop Slack, stop text, stop anything that is like strongly like mentally engaging tasks. If you have a team member or an employee that always, doesn't do their job, don't look at any messages from them because it's just not going to help you in any way. It can wait until tomorrow, most likely. but just keep that in mind from 7 p.m. on. Just like not anything that will disturb your mind too crazily. Start dimming the lights in the house or switch on ambient lighting. One hack that I've been re-implementing again, and a lot of my members also do, is having red light bulbs or red light installed in your home, and from 7 p.m. or 3 hours before bedtime, start switching them on. Red light in your house is kind of like simulating a sunset, because when the sun sets over the horizon, you will also have way more red light versus blue light. Blue light simulates daytime active, red light simulates or signals wind down, relaxation, calming your nervous system. And because you need some sort of light, because we're not living in like a dungeon or something, having red light at home, it gives a little bit of a spicy tone to it, but it also like calms your nervous system down. If you're following me on Instagram or something like that, you'll see often that I post stories and you see that I have red light on. This has nothing to do with my nighttime activities, more so to really like calm down my nervous system. Both maybe. But get yourself some some red light bulbs and have them in. I just have positive feedback so far. You can get them for like $2, $3, $4. Have 2 or 3 of them installed in the bedroom, in the living room, and trust me, you'll feel so much better. Also, 3 hours before bed, avoid political podcast news, any stress-inducing media. In my opinion, avoid news in general, because they're programmed just to like bring bad information up to you, and yeah, not the most productive things to consume in my point of view. So try to avoid that from there on onwards. Also on your devices, switch on night mode, blue light blocking filters. You have something, if you have an iPhone, you have something on your phone that is called the night shift mode, which will make the color of your screen go from bright or clear to more of an orange tone. And this also like essentially like filters out the blue light. Same principle that I told you with the red light bulbs. You're filtering out the blue light, you're having more of an orange reddish tone, and that's going to essentially help you first of all, stop the blue light from entering your lights, because blue light signals your body, hey, daytime, awake, bad thing. And also at the same time calms you a little bit down, because there's more red versus blue or white light inside of there. I have mine personally switched on automatically every day at 7 p.m. So I don't even have to think about it. So when you go into your iPhone, you can search for night shift. You can program it. Mine is programmed from 7 p.m. until 5 a.m. or whatever. So it always switches on and off itself automatically. Plus, I have it at the maximum intensity, because if you want it to work, then you should also like make it work at the maximum intensity. Then also, just in general, like start that time also then try. I know sometimes you have work, sometimes you have like important projects, deadlines. That's all part of the game. But for the most part, try to switch to low stakes activities. You know, things such as walks, chores, conversations with your loved ones. If you have like hobbies, something that's fun to you, low intensity TV or YouTube, you know, like just like the shit that you don't need to like pay a lot of attention to. Very easy to digest. No business books, you know, like also reading is obviously good, but not like, you know, like heavy, super crazy, like more entertaining stuff, right? You know, like if you're into reality TV or like whatever, just like something that is like almost a little bit stupid, because that's when you know like, oh, you don't need a lot of like bandwidth, and it will not unnecessarily rack you up or stir you up and mess up with your sleep. Now, 2 hours before bed, that would be 8 p.m. Optional, sauna or hot bath if you have that accessible, because if you increase your body temperature, not does sauna in and of itself already have a ton of health benefits, but it will also at the same time help you increase initially your core body temperature, and then as a counter reaction will cool down your body temperature, because that's a necessary thing. Your body has to cool down to be able to sleep. That's why you always sleep better when it's colder versus when it's hotter. But that's important. You have to do it 2 hours beforehand, because your body needs around 60 minutes to like cool down. If you do sauna or very hot baths too close to bedtime, it will take a lot of time until you like be able to like drop your core body temperature. What is optional, also what you can do start here is like something such as a gratitude journal, brain dumping, to-do list for tomorrow, because it also like just helps you mentally clear out what's on your mind. Because if you notice, if you're someone that struggles with like having too many thoughts, too many ideas, thinking too much, start writing down stuff if you've never done that. It will have a very interesting effect on you, and it will just like calm you down in a way that you haven't experienced before. I only do that, like I'm very lazy in terms of like when it comes to writing. This is actually a good reminder to like write in my journal again. But I also don't struggle that often with it. But when I do, when my mind is racing, then I definitely write down stuff. Like let's say when you have relationship problems, business problems, like just like stuff that's going on in your mind and your mind is just like racing, start writing down, and then also like finish it off just like with a few gratitude words for yourself. Because especially if you're in phases like that where things go a little bit wrong, reminding yourself of like what's actually going right can be a very healthy thing for you to do mentally. That was 2 hours before bed. Now we get into 1 hour before bed. That will be 9 p.m. Optional here too, starting to use certain supplements. I honestly, myself, I use them daily, which is 2 of them in particular, which is a magnesium glycinate or a magnesium biglycinate. Very important that it's this form and not some sort of like magnesium oxide, citrate, like a gluthionate. You want to have a glycinate because that's the one that contains glycine, as you can hear from the name. And glycine also helps you calm down a little bit more. So we have a magnesium glycinate or a biglycinate, and stack that together with an L-theanine, both of them naturally occurring mineral or amino acid to help you calm yourself down. You don't build up a tolerance. They're very affordable to get, and the return of investment that you get from like having these 2 supplements additionally in your stack, from like calming your nervous system down. And this stack, these 2, they have a nickname called the sleep of gods, and obviously a very useful tool. Everybody that I get them to try it, let's say I have guests over or something, or like I just meet somebody and I tell them like, look, take these 2 if you want to have like a little bit more recoverable, restful sleep. Every single time I get the feedback, dude, like that was awesome. That was really awesome. Like, thank you for that tip. So magnesium glycinate, L-theanine, just get them from like reputable supplement brands, not just like any random, like cheap brands, China products or something like that, because the supplement industry is a little bit of a dirty industry where the majority of the products or things that you get advertised in some situations don't even have inside what they have labeled on them. And in a few cases, even have harmful ingredients in there that are not even listed on the package. So I would always source here, size tangent. I always source or get my supplements from either Watson Nutrition or Hopkins Formulations. They're both based in Germany. If you can look that up for both of them, if you want to try them, you can use code. If you order from Watson Nutrition, you can use code Robin10 on your first order, and then on every following order, Robin. And on Hopkins Formulations, you can also just use code Robin and get like 5 or 10% off. This is literally the only supplement company in the world right now, at least in Europe, but I don't know any other. It's difficult to say in the world because obviously there's so many, but I'm not aware, and they are not aware of any other 2 that tests every single of their batches, not products once, every batch that they do, they test it third party, like from an independent third party lab, on toxins, heavy metals, ingredients, and depending on the supplement, something additional, and have them publicly accessible. So when you go on their websites, you can actually click on the exact report from the supplements that you're going to order. No other company does that. And that's why I only support the best in the game. Watson Nutrition, Hopkins Formulation, check them out. Or Evo Sports Fuel is also like something that I used to use. Still, we're in 1 hour before bed, so that's 9 p.m. Throw in your supplements 45, 30, 60 minutes beforehand. Have your final walk, maybe some light stretching, light mobility, just like easy something. I generally like in the evening to have a little bit of a wind down walk. And of course, also from the here onwards, avoid all stimulating or competitive tasks. Arguing with your partner at that time, also not the best time to do so. No news, no scrolling, no ideally nothing in that regards. And then when we come to 30 minutes before bed, on top, if you haven't done the sauna, take a hot shower because, like I said, it raises your body temperature and then helps you cooling it down again post-shower. Brush your teeth, prep your bedroom, the basic stuff. Switch your phone to airplane mode, very important. And because you don't need, first of all, messages coming in at night. And second of all, the radiation emitting from your phones is not something that you want to have at night when you want to maximize recovery. Pro tip, also switch off your Wi-Fi, all other electronic devices you have in your bedroom. If you have a TV in your bedroom, throw it out or unplug it because the radiation, the electromagnetic field that it emits is producing free radicals on your body. And that's one of the reasons why we age, why we, because of the TV we have in the bedroom, but free radicals are one of the reasons why we have cancerous development. So it just makes sense to it doesn't cost you anything to switch them off, unplug them, just switch everything off. You don't need it at night. You have enough exposure throughout the day already, which is questionable how healthy it is for you or how unhealthy. But surely at night, you don't need that stuff. So anything that is Bluetooth, wireless, Wi-Fi, TVs, switch it off. Switch it off. Not many people know that. Before I went into the topic of health and fitness nutrition, studied performance nutrition. I studied actually electrobiology, and this is essentially the science on what electromagnetic fields, EMFs, do on your body and your biology. And that was kind of my entry point into human biology, health optimization, and these types of things. There's a lot to do and see and understand and learn in this area. But the simplest thing that I tell just everybody that, the 20% that give you 80% of the results, just switch off everything at night and you'll be good. And now optional two, if you do feel or if you worked relatively late and your mind is still racing and you want something that calms yourself a little bit quicker down, what you can do is use an app called Breath Work. Like breathwork itself, the only difference how the app is named is breath work. So meaning it's the exact same word, it's just missing the O in work. That's why breath work app. If you look it up in the app, it's black and white. I use the free version because I don't need it. I use it daily, but I use it in the morning to more get started. But if I do feel like I need it in the end, I can pick a breath work, 3 minutes. You can choose what mood you want to enter, if you want to get calm, if you want to get creative, if you want to get energized, and then it will give you the right breath work program for 3 minutes, for 10 minutes, however you want. And it's honestly breath, it's one of the most underused tools or things where you can literally alter your state. I've shared this story before, but I just want to quickly tease on that. When I was in Bali once, doing a health and fitness retreat from a very famous exercise and nutrition scientist, we had a guest speaker or a guest instructor, and she did a breathwork session with us that lasted an hour. And we had to lie down, our eyes were covered, there was some music involved, she was guiding us through, and without exaggeration, I've been able to enter a state that, a psychedelic state, essentially. If I wouldn't have known it better, I would have thought somebody gave me some sort of some sort of psychedelic substance, because I was tripping bad. But there is science behind it, and you can explain that. I'm not here the expert to talk to you about and try to sell you breath work and everything, but just to show you, I literally had something that you could maybe compare to a mushroom or LSD trip, essentially by breathing, as crazy as it sounds. Not to talk about psychedelics or something like that, but just to show you that how powerful our breath can be if used properly to alter our state. So have a look, Breathwork. I have no affiliation with them. It's just a tool that I use. Have a look at that and check it out if that resonates with you. 30 minutes before bed. Now 10 minutes before bed. lie down in a cool, dark, clean room. Ideal temperature, what you want to have your bedroom to be, is between 15 to 19 degrees Celsius, which is so cool that if you're in your pajama or let's say naked, you're going to be cold. You're going to be cold. It should be so cold in your bedroom, as a reference to know how much that is, because not everybody has a thermometer in their bedroom, is if you would have to go, you would be only comfortable sleeping in your bed, like wrapped into your blanket, or like you would be comfortable only if you're wrapped up into your blanket. If you would be like topless, like you would be freezing. That's how cold it should be. It should be so cold that if you would have to wake up at night to go to the restroom, that you wake up and you're going to be like, ooh, this is cold. You go to the restroom and the only thing that you want to do is like go right back. Trust me, that's the best temperature you can do. You probably also like at some point have entered an area or a place, let's say in the Alps or on winter vacation or something, where it was like very cold at night, where you were like, damn, I'm going to struggle this night, but you actually had like one of the best sleeps ever. Because we just sleep better in cool environments. And then just like make it dark, make it clean. If you need it, if you live in a noisy area like I do currently right now, maybe some white noise or rain sounds can help. If you go on YouTube, there's literally like 24-hour, 48-hour. If you type in black screen rain sound or something, you will literally find YouTube videos that play for 10, 12 hours, have a black screen, and play very light rain sounds. I do that whenever I'm on a plane and I want to sleep. I put in my AirPods. I play an 8-hour or 10-hour rain sound background music, and I sleep fantastically. A lot of people complain they can't sleep on planes or it's too noisy or whatever. Like with that, if I put in my noise canceling headphones plus the rain noise and a sleep mask, I use one from Manta. It's like the Mercedes-Benz under the sleep masks. You sleep quite nicely. Really nice. Give it a try. Also optional what you can put on top, like affection or orgasms. Obviously, having an orgasm is nothing new to you, but will definitely help you sleep better. And whether that's alone or with your partner, that's up to you, to your personal preference or to your availability. Depends. Can have a massive difference, 100%. And also, like just in general, using this time to decompress without stimulation, meaning, like I said, forget emails, forget Slack, forget anything that will like get your mind again into racing. Do easy, light stuff. Talk to your loved ones about the good things about the day. Maybe have a practice with your partner in the evening where you share like what you're grateful for, like reflecting a little bit, and do all of that. And now lastly, I'm just going to give you a quick checklist for your bedroom setup so you can make sure your bedroom is the perfect sleep environment for you to get the most productive sleep. First of all, like I already said, cool temperature, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. So pretty cold, pretty cold. Your bedroom should be completely dark, right? Like pitch black, so dark that you can't see anything. And if you can't use that, get yourself some blackout curtains, right? Very, very game-changing thing. If you don't have that, if for some reason that doesn't work, or if you're traveling a lot, get yourself a sleep mask. I have the one, like I said, from Manta sleep mask. I have the Pro one. I first had the regular one. It gets a little bit too hot at times. And then there's two other ones that I have now. The Pro one, which I'm super happy with. You could maybe also try the Silk one. It also, just when you look at it, it looks very comfortable. But the Pro does an amazing job. And because I spend a lot of time in Airbnbs, in hotels and whatnot, airplanes, it's an absolute game changer because you can standardize your sleep and program your body to, as soon as you put the mask on, you're like, oh, this is now sleep mode, and you fall asleep, right? Game changer. Like I said, make sure it's quiet or use some white noise rain. Also, what I do, I use earplugs every night. Because it also, like, again, it standardizes my sleep because it doesn't matter if it's already quiet or if it's like a little bit more noisy. I put them in, I have the same noise level as always, and my body's like, oh, cool, this is rest. This is like what we're used to, full on sleep mode, right? Then, clean space, no clutter, don't make your bedroom too messy. Obviously, basic stuff such as comfortable mattress, bedding, sleepwear. It's worth investing into a very good mattress, some decent amount of money, because imagine it's like almost something where you spend a rough third of your life on. You spend more time on your mattress than you spend on your dinner table, on your couch, in your car. And think about like how much money you spent on all of these. So getting a good bed might be worth a good investment. I already said that, earplugs or sleep mask, switch off all electronic devices or unplug, and like I said, switch off Wi-Fi and all other wireless devices. And that's a wrap. We have the whole system, the whole neurophysiological recovery. I might update that in the future, but as of right now, this is the most up-to-date and evidence-based practical strategies that you can do right now today that will have a massive impact on your sleep, on your recovery, and ultimately on your performance. And if you also want to know like how we transformed already hundreds of high-performing professionals into their best shape, help them drop the belly, get into peak shape, enhance their professional experience, and regain consistent energy, you can click in the show notes below, thefithighperformer.com/strategy, where I show the exact breakdown of how we did it and how we built a process, a system that has proven to work for hundreds of men with crazy schedules, working 12 hours a day, traveling all the time, and having lots of responsibilities, including family, but still don't want to miss out in optimizing their health, performance, physical appearance, and ultimately their life quality. So again, everything is in the show notes, in the description below, thefithighperformer.com/strategy, and then I'll see you in the next episode.